Yeah,
and then they're carrying him like he's handcuffed the whole time they're beating him. He was no threat, no danger to none of them, and they all admitted that. But this is good behavior. Another thing that the lieutenant said on stand, that there was
398 blind
spots in the jail that you can take these inmates to beat them, and it's not video.
But he didn't know nothing else that was going on.
But he didn't know anything else. He didn't hear anything. He didn't see anything, but his office was right there.
Welcome to Creepalachia. We have a somber but important episode today. And for me, an inspiring one. Obviously, we wish we weren't here, but I'm glad to be joined by Kimberly Burks and Latasha Williams. We're going to talk about Quantez Burks, who was essentially killed, murdered in the prison system, Southern Regional Jail in West Virginia, and this is an important one. So let's just see where it goes, and we'll just start with introducing you all. So, Latasha, you were Quan's fiancée,
yes,
correct? And Kim, you're his mom.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with you first, Kim. So tell me about you and where you grew up, and you know how you learned that you were pregnant with Quan. Let's start from the beginning.
So I grew up in Beckley. I was raised in Beckley. My mother was a nurse and my dad a coal miner. I went to school down here. My mother died when I was 8, so we had moved to Virginia. I ended up coming back down here all my life, back and forth with my dad. I graduated in 85. Quan was born in 84. Mm-hmm. But during that time, I was living in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, when Quan was born. Quan was a premature baby. He was supposed to have been due on February 14th. I had him December 27th, 2 days after Christmas. He always complained about not having a birthday party because it was so close to Christmas and the kids wouldn't come out. They fascinated with their toys and everything. But so Quan was a premature baby. He had a lot of issues when he was born. I slept with Quan. Quan stayed in the hospital almost 2 months after he was born. When I finally got him home, they wanted me to take monitors, all that kind of stuff with me to make sure that all his vitals and everything was right. Mm-hmm. But I chose not to do that. I wanted him to stay in the hospital where he could get the best care possible. Once I was able to bring him home, I slept with Quan on my chest for a year.
Oh, wow.
Quan couldn't go to sleep without hearing my heartbeat. I couldn't sleep without hearing his heartbeat. My sister would always say, I don't understand how you don't move. You just lay in that bed. You're not scared you're going to roll over the baby? Absolutely not. But he was born with a lot of issues. At one point, I didn't think he was going to make it. So Quan, he went to school here, but he went to school in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. He was really, really good on the football field. He was the type of kid that didn't require a whole lot of attention because he didn't mind being by himself. He was the youngest kid out of all of his friends, but he was the one that they looked up to.
Yeah.
He was, he just got it. He just got the homework. He got it. He didn't require a whole lot of extra work with during school. His favorite sport was football. I think
what position did he play?
I think he was running back.
Running back?
Mm-hmm. And I remember this one football game we went to. I had just got there. I was late. And he got tackled, a very hard tackle. And it scared me. And I ran out on the field. And I was like, Quan, are you okay? He's on his back. Are you okay? And he looked up at me and started smiling. He said, Ma, did you see that? Did you see that? And I was like, yeah. So he was okay. Just scared me a little bit. But he was okay. That was his passion. his football coach, when they gave out awards, he had the Dog Bone Award because he was always dogging them out on the football field.
Oh, nice.
So that's what he got. One year he didn't want to play football. He was down here with his dad and was in Beckley. And the football coach came down here to get him, wanted to take him back. And he was like, we can't let him miss this season, but he didn't want to play. I think he ended up going back playing anyway. But Quan was a very loved child. He was a good kid, quiet, to himself. He always thought, even as he got older and an adult, he always thought about what he did. He never did anything just randomly at the spur of the moment. He thought about it. He would lay in the bed at night and just be looking up at the ceiling. And I'm like, what you looking at? What you thinking about? And he would actually replay his whole day. He could tell you about his whole day, any money that he spent through the day, or
down to the penny.
Down to the penny. Yeah. He never put his money together. He always balled it, had it in a ball in his pockets. But believe me, he knew every penny that was there. He was tight with his money.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of money. He owned Quan owned his home, and the house beside his house went into foreclosure. But the family there before were hoarders. The president of the bank came out, looked at the house. They wanted to tear it down, and they was like, who lives right here? And they came and got my son. And the president of the bank said, do you want this house? And he was like, yeah, I'll take it. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. And the president of the bank told him, he said, if I was you, I would just tear it down and extend my property. And Quan was like, Mom, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fix that house up and I'm going to rent it out.
Nice.
So that's what he did. And that was his income. He rented it out as rooms. And it really helped. Like, he helped like people that were homeless. He gave people that were on drugs and trying to get off a chance. So he did that for some years.
Wow.
And he got that house fixed up to his liking. And I remember Tasha would be like, you over there all night. It's time for you to come home. He said, Mom, just trying to get the house fixed up. And she would be nagging him because that's what he did for so long.
Right.
That house. And it was a free house.
Too.
Yeah, we did. So he got it together. The property is still where it's at. Still, standing, still being rented out.
Wow. So this was in Beckley? Okay.
So the house, he owned the 2 houses, but the one that he purchased is right beside.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, wow. So entrepreneur.
Yeah. When he bought his house, the people there had passed away. And the aunt of the lady that passed away was there visiting. And Quan had his income tax money for months, almost a year, didn't he? He never would spend it.
Right.
Because he wanted to buy a house. So he was like, should I go talk to him or whatever? And I said, yeah, go talk to him. So he ended up getting that house that day. He came back with maybe $20 in his pocket. And I was like, well, that's okay. You got your house. You're a homeowner. So he was really proud of that house and the other house. Quan was a cook. He's a grill master.
What do you make?
Everything. Ribs was
ribs was his thing.
Right.
My granddaughter was like, I'm mad that Uncle died and didn't leave that recipe. But he liked to garden. He raised dogs. He bred dogs. Working out.
He would love that room in there.
He would absolutely love it.
Right.
But Quan was a homebody. He was never, I'm not going to say he was a perfect person because none of us are, but he was never one to be out in the streets, hanging out, causing trouble. It just wasn't his style.
Sure.
Not at all.
And you have another kid, correct? a son?
Another son.
Okay.
My sons are almost 6 years apart.
Okay.
He has a younger brother, Tremaine. And Tremaine looked up to Quan. Quan would, now my youngest son was one that goes out, hang out, do this, do that, always into something. And Quan would say, man, why are you doing that? You know, you don't need to hang around these people, you know. So Tremaine looked up to Quan. You know, their dad wasn't around. They knew their dad, they would visit and stuff, but he really had no guidance from him. That all came from Quan. Me and Quan are 18 years apart. So Quan really grew up with me as my brother, my friend, my son. You know, we just had a unique and different relationship.
Close,
very close.
Yeah. I relate to, so I have a brother that's 6 years older than me. And, you know, my dad wasn't really a dad. And so my brother kind of became my dad in a lot of ways. So I could only imagine what it would have been like to lose him, you know, and especially in such a horrific way.
Yeah, it was devastating. You know, we don't never know what tomorrow is going to bring, but that day was absolutely unbelievable and unbearable.
No doubt. I can only imagine. And we're going to walk into that. I do want to talk about Quan's love life.
That's her right
We
there.
got Latasha here. So Latasha, how did you and Quan first meet?
In our neighborhood, our brothers went to school together, and he was coming to do something, and I seen him, and I was like, Mom, who is that? I was 14, Quan was 15. She's like, don't worry about it. But she came back in with his number for me. And from that day on, and I was 14, he was 15. From that day on.
So a long time.
22 years.
Wow.
Well, it made 25, August the 13th. It would have been 25, but it was 22 before he got killed.
How did he propose? Man. Was you expecting it? Because I imagine you're like, it's been like a decade.
Man, no. So I was being big. Like, you want me to do all this? I ain't even got no ring. So one day I was going to the laundromat, and he was like, you ain't take my pants. I said, no. He said, good. So he went in the bathroom and came back out, and he gave me, it was an engagement set. It had purple diamonds and purple hearts.
Oh.
Like, you gonna marry me? I said, you gonna get down on your knee? And he did.
That's great.
And,
well, you know, you had every right to bring it up. I'll just say, but it sounds like with my wife, I basically put a note on the coffee table, and then it's like, here you go. And I didn't get on my knee either. So,
yeah,
but
I said, you gonna get on your knee? Like, pulled his pants up, got down on his knee.
That's great. So, so tell me about him. Like, what would y'all do together?
We would go camping, fishing. We would garden together. We would lay around, be lazy. We would go out to dates and stuff. We raised a lot of our nieces and nephews. My brother, he helped with him, and he was autistic, and he wouldn't talk. He was potty trained, but he didn't know how to use the bathroom. Anything, we did anything. Party together. We was together. When you seen Quan, you seen me. When you see me, you seen Quan. He didn't go hang with his friends. I didn't go hang with my friends. We was together. If anybody came over, we was together. Inseparable.
Oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. This is. It just sounds like he was an awesome person. So let's start with how he ended up there. So. What happened? Do you remember hearing like he may be going to Southern Regional, or kind of what set this up to get this started?
So, the house that Quan was renting out, he didn't want any pets there. So he had a problem with the tenants having pets there. Quan was a gun owner. Legally he could carry one.
No felon.
He wasn't a felon at all.
Sure.
So that day Quan shot his gun in the woods. it's been so many different stories about, some people say the police officers, when they came, oh, he's shooting at the cats, or he's shooting at the dogs, or he's strung out and he's this. It was just so many different stories going on. But Quan did get into an argument that day with the tenants about the pets because he didn't want them there.
Sure.
He ended up shooting his gun on his property. And one of the tenants called the police.
Okay.
And that's what brought them there.
It's important to lay that out because regardless, he didn't deserve what happened.
Exactly.
The system hadn't even got to play out yet because it was the first day, correct?
Yeah.
That he was there, that he was brought in, and then
there about 18 hours.
18 hours.
Yeah. But I do think it's important to note, like, okay, well, so he gets brought in. Were you notified? Like, which one of you found out?
I called the next day to pay his bond.
Mm-hmm.
And
the next morning,
she was like, he died of a heart attack the night before.
What?
Well, he had called that morning that he died and talked to his grandmother, and he talked to Tasha, and he told us Tasha where the paperwork was to go get his bond.
Right.
To go post his bond. And that was about 9:30 that morning, something like that.
Yeah, we talked to him. It was about 9 to 9:11
that morning.
Mm.
So then Tasha called.
And she said, I'm sorry, he died the night before of a heart attack. So I threw the phone. We was in her room and I ran out the room crying. Then I came back in like, nah, Kim, they tripping. They got the wrong person because I just talked to him this morning. So when we called back, she was like, oh, my apologies. He died this morning of a heart attack.
Oh my goodness. They didn't even notify anyone yet?
No. Nope. To this day, we have not heard from the...
Well, they didn't tell us, but the new ones apologized. You know.
Who apologized? Yeah, he did. But we hadn't heard from the state. We hadn't heard from the Department of Corrections. The Department of Corrections are the ones who should have gotten in touch with us immediately, and they did not. And this is going on a little further than where we really are talking.
Yeah.
As the beating was unfolding, the inmates were calling. Somebody knew somebody that knew somebody that got in touch with Tasha.
Oh, really? So they knew.
The girlfriends was calling me, sending me messages.
That's how we found out.
He was really beat to death.
My sister-in-law called down there and talked to the lieutenant. And the lieutenant said everything was okay. And eventually he went on to tell her that Quan had a heart attack. But they started covering up instantly.
That morning.
Instantly, they start covering up. One of the inmates there told us that they took Quan to Bar H. He was supposedly had been there under the name of John Doe. Mm-hmm. And Quan had been arrested before. Drinking and driving.
That was all.
That was all drinking and driving.
So he had a DUI?
DUI.
Okay.
So he was in the system. Contact numbers was on that paperwork. And nobody contacted us. When we first found out that he died and we couldn't locate Quan, we could not locate him for 4 hours. He wasn't at the SRJ. He wasn't at the hospital. He wasn't at the medical examiner's office in Charleston. So as we learned through the trial, the whole time, Quan was in the morgue at the jail. And they would not tell us. They didn't tell us. I have a cousin who works, a funeral director is my cousin. Mm-hmm. I called him when we found out what they told us had happened. And I said, I can't locate Quan. And it was 4 hours later. And when he finally located Quan, they were en route to the medical examiner's office in Charleston. The Department of Corrections, the state police department, they failed at everything that they did. one reason that they failed is because they were too busy trying to cover it up. So it took us forever to get answers. Forever.
Well, and to clarify, like, there's a lot of people went to jail after this, so it was evident it was a cover up, which we'll get into. So the next day, when did you get to like identify the body, or was there any kind of process like that, or
no?
What was next?
We did. We never identified him. When Mr. Durgan went to get him, I think he was in Charleston for about a week or so and
that's the funeral director. Okay.
He was at the medical examiner's office for about a week in Charleston because they did their autopsy. And when the funeral director and Beckley went to get him, he wouldn't let us see Quan for a minute. He never did let us see Quan.
He gave us the best of the worst pictures.
Yeah, we never did identify Quan because of the autopsy that the state had done. And, he was cut up all over, all that kind of stuff. So Mr. Durgan, we had a second autopsy done. And after they did that second autopsy, he went back to get Quan, and he cleaned Quan up.
He took him to Pittsburgh.
And he took him to Pittsburgh. Did we ever see him before he cleaned him up?
Nope.
No, we only saw him.
The pictures. We seen him a couple days before his funeral.
A couple days before, yeah. But Mr. Durgan had took pictures. And that's what we saw. We saw pictures.
Okay. Bring that mic in front of you. I'm sorry. And bring that one closer to you, Latasha. Sorry. So, wow. So the state's autopsy, and you said he had a heart attack. How did you read the autopsy? Like, how did they come to that conclusion?
So the autopsy report was never, ever given to us from the state.
Okay.
Until after we had our own independent autopsy.
Which was how many days after?
About a month and a half. It took us almost 2 months to bury Quan.
2 months? Wow.
Because we had the second autopsy done, and it took so long for the funeral home to get him from the state. Everything was just crazy.
What were they saying to you? Was Southern Regional talking to you or anything, or nobody was saying anything?
Not at all. Nope. Not at all. So the autopsy report from the state, it said that Quan had died of a heart attack. It said
extracardiovascular heart disease. That's what it said.
And that's what it said. Quan did have high blood pressure, but it was under control with his medication. So then when Mr. Durgan had got him, he told us, he said, he showed us the best of the worst pictures. All of them were terrible.
So he knew.
He knew. And he called us in his office and he said, what I need y'all to do is to get a second autopsy and get a good lawyer.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. That's what he said.
My goodness. Like, what if he didn't get involved?
I know.
What, you would have never known.
Mm-hmm.
And he was what, 38? I mean,
37.
37. Like, the odds of having a heart attack at that age are very, very slim. Like, I have high cholesterol. I take medication for it. And
he worked out, so he went and,
and it just so happens to be the first day he went, you know what I mean?
So, in 22, they had, I'm going to say between 13 and 15 deaths at the SRJ. Not every last one of them, but the majority of those deaths were listed as natural causes.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? And they weren't all natural causes of death.
No way.
Some of those deaths were inmate on inmate. A lot of those deaths were from the COs being violent. it was just a combination of all kind of things. But in 2022, a lot of those deaths were listed as natural causes. And Quan's death wasn't a natural cause of death.
As we found out.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. Even in the beginning, when they were saying that, it was a natural cause, we never believed what they said.
We just knew. One. Yeah.
From the first story they gave us, we never ever believed it. We never gave them a chance to continue that lie that they were telling and that cover up. And, like the first interview we did, we told them, we're never going away. We're going to get down to the bottom of this. Because when we went to at Tamarack, Jim Justice was doing some kind of meeting there with the political thing that he does.
It had nothing to do with anything. Yeah, this is my favorite story about Kim, y'all. It's just okay. So I'll let you set it up.
So it had nothing to do with my issues, with the issues we were having. So I was Pam Garrison is Tasha and I are in a group with the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign, and we had met Pam, and I was talking to her one day, and I was like, I sure would like to get in touch with Jim Justice. And, no phone calls being returned. No, none of that. So she said, Kim, he's going to be at Tamarack tomorrow. And I said, okay, we'll go down there. So we were there. He was talking about what he talks about.
Stump speech.
Mm-hmm.
Baby dog.
Sure, yeah.
Baby dog.
I do love Baby Dog. I mean, it's pretty dog. But
he overweight though.
Yeah, so, he is overweight. We got to do something. So as he's talking, I don't even remember what he was talking about. Right.
Because my mind was one tracked, So we're raising our hands. He's pointing out people to speak. He never acknowledges us. And every time he point to somebody and overlook me, it would be this person over here, that person over there. Tasha was a little bit behind me, and she still had her hand raised up. And every time he would overlook me, I would take a step closer to the stage because you're going to acknowledge me. So when he finally listened to me, I started talking about the SRJ. Jim Justice, what he said was, and he had made me so upset because I'm asking him, what are you going to do about this? What's going on? He said, where there is smoke, there usually is a fire. What? So he had Jeff Sandy, who was in charge of Homeland Security at that time. He had him go into the jails to report the conditions of the jails. Jeff Sandy came back with a whole BS story. Nothing was wrong. So at that time, they were having problems in the jail with the water, no water in the cells.
Toilets not flushing,
mold, overcrowdedness, rats, people sleeping 3 and 4 and 5 people in a room, all of this kind of stuff, no flushing toilets and all this kind of stuff. And
you gotta take a shot of liquor now. That's the show rule. No, I'm kidding. It's the phone ring. Right. I'm kidding. Right. Go ahead.
So that's my story.
That's okay. If you need to answer, we can cut this out.
No.
You sure?
You can wait.
Okay.
They had all these conditions going on at the jail. Jeff Sandy came back and said, everything is beautiful. Nothing's wrong, right? So every lie that Jeff Sandy told to Jim Justice repeated it.
Without going to check. See if everything
Jeff
was
Sandy
right.
went up into the tower. The towers overlook all of the pods in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
He went up into that tower and you can see, but he never went on the floor to these individual cells, right? So he's taking notes from up there, which is nothing's going to
What
be.
did you see, like security camera footage or like?
Yes. This is what Jeff Sandy reported.
Oh,
This is
okay,
what
gotcha.
he said.
So he wrote it in his report.
Yeah,
okay.
this is what he said.
Got it.
So he never walked the floors to see that there was no running water, that there was 5 people in a cell, people sleeping on the floor, can't flush the toilets, all that stuff. So every lie that he told, Jim Justice repeated it. So Jim Justice went on to, I can't remember what it was, but I told him he was telling a lie because he was. And, all I want is answers. I want you to help me find out what happened to my son. You are the governor. This is what you need to do. This is your responsibility to us,
Help us.
To help. And he never, ever did. He never did.
Mm-hmm.
He never did anything.
If the smoke, there's fire thing, is that like him saying like, oh, well, there's something we need to look at?
Yeah,
or
there's
okay,
a problem,
gotcha.
but we gonna address, but
Well,
he
yeah, I
never
mean,
did.
and this is what I call good trouble. You start bringing this up and you make people feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And the reason you do this is because access is so tough to go by.
Mhm.
And ultimately, I believe like if you didn't start doing this, I don't think anything would have happened.
Mhm. It
I
wouldn't.
would have been
No.
swept under the rug.
But we
No.
also
What he
had went to a city hall meeting, and Rapode, I don't know. Rappaport was the mayor.
Rappel. Mhm.
We had to sign in. We signed on the same line. So
we didn't know.
We didn't know. So we got 3 minutes. And I'm asking him to give us some information to help us. And he couldn't take the pressure.
He said he was numb to the fact.
He said
of
he
what
was
happened.
numb to the fact about what happened. And I'm like, what kind of comment is that when these COs done beat my son to death? A healthy 37-year-old man, they done beat to death. And you tell me that you're numb to the fact. So by the time we got to Jim Justice, I wasn't playing with him. We want some answers.
Right.
Because the mayor didn't give us any answers. So they talked about in that meeting, they talked about parks and recreations. They talked about the freezers not working and the freezers needing ice cream and all this
Them
kind of stuff.
lifeguards.
But they could not address us about this homicide.
Yeah.
So it was so unacceptable. And so by this time, we really wanted to talk to Jim Justice. And he gave us nothing either. He gave us absolutely nothing.
Well, I'm sure he didn't know. I mean, really,
Oh, he
like,
knew.
well, so I think there's a lot of things at play because first off, I mean, it's your son, it's your fiance, and you're so angry because all of these people can't give you the answers. But I think they didn't even, I mean, it sounds bad. I think they necessarily didn't care enough to look into it. They did, you know what I mean?
So this is why they didn't care.
Yeah.
For one, the cover up through the Department of Corrections and at the SRJ has gone on for decades. Now, as long as these families are as long as the state feel like they can pay these families off, sweep it under the rug and be quiet about it, they're going to go on about their day.
So there've been like settlements.
Oh, of course.
Okay, gotcha.
Of course. And then within those guidelines of the settlements, you're not really allowed to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
And that wasn't us, because no amount of money could ever bring my son back. I cannot imagine how he was feeling that morning, knowing that he was handcuffed and beat like that and couldn't do anything. I don't care about your money. I don't care about none of that. Like, I want to know what happened to my son. It wasn't even a thing about the money or anything like that. I want to know what happened to my son.
Oh, you're full mama bear mode.
Yeah,
I mean,
want to know what happened.
Yeah.
Because like I told you earlier, he was not the confrontational type. He could be if you pissed him off. You know what I'm saying? But he was not that type. And what did y'all do? So as time goes on, and we end up court. I'm skipping a little bit.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time.
As time goes on, and we find out things. So in the pod, they took Quan to a few different pods and beat him where there weren't cameras and vision. We saw one piece of video where he's keep punching the buzzer to get the CO's attention. That night, Quan was having heart problems, right? He couldn't breathe. Whatever his issues was, he needed medical attention. And that's why he kept pushing that button. And the COs didn't like it. And the CO came straight down, got on the window, and kicking the door. And if you push this button one more time,
I'll beat your ass.
Then the next thing you know, all of these COs is surrounding him. They got him on the ground. They got him handcuffed. They got him under control. Mm-hmm. And they still beat him. And all he needed was medical attention. He needed help. So when they took his vitals, when he went in, his blood pressure was a little high. During the middle of the night, it started getting worse. And he needed help. And
at 6 o'clock that morning, they came in and gave him some a colada something and a blood pressure pill, thinking it was going to help.
And it kept going up.
It made it worse.
So when the nurses came in the next day, or whenever they came in, they never saw him. They went by that chart and said, "Oh, give him this." Give him this. So the nursing staff was terrible too.
Complete system failure.
A complete system failure.
Yeah.
Complete all the way around.
To shoot him up with insulin to make it look natural.
Was he a diabetic?
No.
Hold on.
No.
Is that in writing? Yeah. They said that they wanted to shoot him up with insulin?
So the nurses didn't say that.
Okay.
So there was inmates around when stuff was happening.
Okay, so there's a lot of eyewitnesses.
It was a lot of eyewitnesses. One of the eyewitnesses got in touch with us. A trustee who had access to.
And a trustee is people who have special privileges. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Okay.
And he heard them, but when we went to court, it was never proven. This is hearsay.
Okay, so this is
hearsay.
Okay.
It was never proven.
Gotcha.
But he told us that one of the nurses said to inject with insulin to make it look like a natural cause of death.
Okay.
So where you inject that is at your rectum, and you can't see the puncture mark. Mm-hmm. So this is what he overheard.
Like in the gluteus part. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
So this is what he heard, and this is what was reported to us. But because it was hearsay, we couldn't prove that. The lawyers didn't try to prove that.
Well, I imagine, because I mean, like one of them I saw was got 17 years, and then there's one that got 6 years, which we'll get into. But I imagine they're going to have to scrounge for evidence on what they can prove specifically, and then you all probably had to make concessions. I'd say that was very frustrating.
The feds, we knew. So we and the judge told us that each person was an individual person in an individual case. They may not all face the same charges or the same.
Sure, yeah. It was a conglomerate of disasters just coming together.
So they were basically, for their roles and what they had to admit to, and the way the Fed system works, they all got different times.
Gotcha.
So they were facing life sentences. When they pled, it took that down off the table. Mm-hmm. There's a point system through the feds. Like you can do 10 things bad and 5 things right. And they take this point system and they break it up. And then in this point system gives you a range of how much time you will serve. Wow. So they got, it was 8 of them. Chad Lester.
8?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That we know of.
It was that we know of, yeah. Chad Lester was the lieutenant in charge. He got 17 and a half years for lying, for covering up, for falsifying reports, for all kind of stuff. He never put his hands on Quan, but he was the cover up.
Mm-hmm. He was changing their reports.
He was changing reports.
That sounds. Are you happy with that sentence? That sounds like a good sentence, but I don't know.
I'm not happy. Okay.
I mean,
me personally, they should be lucky that I'm not the one giving out these sentences, because they would never see daylight again.
Right.
But the way the judge explained it, and we got to go by. He's the expert.
Sure.
You know, I'm going by my heart. He's going by the law books.
Yeah.
So Chad Lester got 17 and a half. He'll do 17 and a half years for his cover up, for his lying, for his threatening people in the workers.
So he was like the boss of
he was the boss in charge that night.
Okay, got it.
So he got 17 and a half years. So one got 21 years, one got 20 years. The 17 and a half.
21 and a half.
At 21 and a half.
20, 17 and a half, 19.
And 19 and a half too.
19 and a half.
Right. So
3,
the
6, 3.
3, 6, 7, 8 and a half, 8 years, 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then one got 9 years and one got 3 years. The one that got 3 years, he got 3 years because, am I talking too much?
No,
He didn't do nothing.
no, you're
He
doing
got
great.
3 years because, and I'm telling you this because you asked me if I was satisfied with it.
Yeah.
He got 3 years because he saw it. He lied about it, but he went to get help.
No, he didn't get help. He stood there and did nothing.
They said he went to get help.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, that's what they said in court. Okay.
That's
Well,
what
that's-
I heard.
Okay.
That's why I got her here, because she just, but during the whole thing, we all heard different things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
is this, we had to come together in the end and talk. But that's what I thought they said. He did go get help. He saw it, but he didn't do anything. His lawyer wanted him to have 3 years home confinement. And the judge was like, absolutely not, because he still played a role in it.
Who was your judge?
Goodwin.
Okay.
From Charleston.
Mhm.
And here in Beckley was Volk.
Okay.
And these are federal judges.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley, so it was one lieutenant and it was 7 COs.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that did most of the beating that caused his death are the ones that got them double digits.
Okay.
Okay. The other 4, they got the 3 years, 6 and a half, 8 years, 7 months, and 9 years. The one that got the 3 years, he came forth first. So they take this, like these good things you do against these bad things, and they give you a point system. So
Did any plead guilty?
all of them pled guilty.
Okay, all pled
Chad
guilty.
Lester was the only one that wanted to go to trial.
Okay.
And he was proven wrong, and he was caught in his lies through the
On
whole
stand.
trial. On stand.
Was you there?
We didn't miss anything.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Ashley Tony was the only female. I think she was like 20. She might be 25 now or something. She's doing 6.5 years. She's in North Carolina right now. She just left about a month ago. They were out on a bond thing until they went to court. So these were the last 4 to go to get sentenced, because they stayed out the whole time. The other 4 have been in the system for almost 2 years. When indictments came out, they kept them. But Ashley Tony was the only female. Ashley Tony got on the witness when she got up, and she testified about how this was a thing that they did in the jail. She said that the beatings, she said all of the beating and all of this was a sign of a good behavior for the COs. It's a pat on the back. She said it's a pat on the back. She said it could be a better job. It could be better pay. And basically, it's a pat on the back. You did a good thing because this is what they've been doing for decades.
Sure.
She was also the one that we saw on camera who was going back and forth getting the COs, taking them to the investigation room when they were being questioned by the state police, by the FBI, or whoever they were being. She was that one. Stick to the report. Did you follow the report? Follow the story. So she's more of the conspiracy to me than Chad Lester is. And I feel like Ashley Toney should be doing them double digits in time.
Okay, so super way too low.
Way too low.
Yeah.
Not satisfied with her. Wimmer, what's his name? Stephen Nicholas Wimmer. So they all got to telling on each other in court, right? And they all put their hands on Quan except Booth. And as they were telling, so in the beginning when they made these pleas, they told as little as possible, in my opinion. But when they got to telling on each other on the witness stand, they all did something. They all put their hands on Quan. Mm. Stephen Wimmer did the most. And
Quan was dead and he was still
kicking on him.
Banging his head on him.
That's on testimony?
Mm-hmm.
It's on video.
It's on video.
Oh, that's on video?
It's on video.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah. So
Quan was dead before they took him to the last interview room and was still beaten.
You could see him like, and then they're carrying him like he's handcuffed the whole time they're beating him. He was no threat, no danger to none of them, and they all admitted that. But this is good behavior. Another thing that the lieutenant said on stand, that there was 398 blind spots in the jail that you can take these inmates to beat them, and it's not video.
But he didn't know nothing else that was going on.
But he didn't know anything else. He didn't hear anything. He didn't see anything, but his office was right there.
His office right here, a blind spot there, a blind spot there.
And he didn't see anything. But I want to know, and his name is Chad Lester, I want to know how he knows there's 300 and some blind spots in the jail that you can take people to beat them. Did you really count all of that?
Well, there's obviously an established culture of this.
That's the word I couldn't come out with, that they kept saying was a culture. It's a culture that they've been doing for years.
Mm.
So,
and like I have a lot of friends who see like there's a lot of people doing things right, but there's also people doing things way wrong. And when stuff like this happens, why I'm so grateful for you all is because it's so hard to prove it, because people tend to put up walls, especially a state like West Virginia where it's like, very conservative. And thank God for you all. My goodness. I mean, it's just like, do you think like if you didn't say anything, like you'd have just been...
Of course, the state never got in touch with us. The Department of Corrections never got in touch with us, and their intent was not to get in touch with us. What they did say was, I think he's on drugs. Chad Lester said he was hallucinating. He said he was seeing green people. He said he was seeing rats. He was seeing this and he was doing that. And it's all to cover up what y'all did wrong. They never intended for this to go this far because they've been down this road before. And I don't know why. I can't say why. Another family didn't pick it up, but I can't speak on them.
Well, who'd you get to do the independent autopsy? Because it sounds like that's...
Cecil Weck. And he's a really good pathologist. Cecil Weck. He just passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, did he?
So he's done his kind of work on a lot of high-profile cases.
Yeah.
So we had to come up with $5,000 for that we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have it, but we did. And, until we got all that money together, this is why it took so long for us to bury him too. We had to come up with that $5,000. But their intentions was for this to never go as far as it did.
Mm-hmm.
My intention, and Tasha and my family, was to take it as far as we can. And even though we're done with the federal case is for violating his civil rights.
Under the color of law.
Under the color of law. That can mean anything, right? So I gotta get somebody got to be charged with a homicide, because the medical examiner's office in West Virginia went back and changed that natural cause of death and that cardiovascular thing to homicide. So nobody.
Oh, really?
Of course.
So what were the charges exactly? Do you remember?
For who?
Oh,
For
well,
Quan,
I mean,
wanton endangerment.
okay.
Wanton endangerment and
Obstruction.
He was a pretrial detainee.
Mhm.
He was supposed to go to court that morning. He never got a chance to go to court because they
Never even got a hearing.
Never got a hearing.
Never.
A misdemeanor charge. So on top of that, we see him on the police cam. We see him walking into the jail with them. But all of a sudden, there's no video of him coming out of the jail. No video of him being put in a ambulance. None of that. Because blind spots. So this is also when the state was going. So when we brought this stuff up with Quan, a lot of things started going on with the state. The conditions of the jail, the inhumane conditions of the jail, right? The state police thing had came up where the state police was putting cameras in the bath. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
In the rooms.
Well,
yeah.
This case brought out a lot.
It brought out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just, his death, I just kind of feel like his death, I hope, will stop a lot of things, but it brought a lot of things to the light.
He was the sacrificial lamb.
He was the sacrificial lamb for this, right?
For West Virginia.
Yeah, because they've been doing it for so long and they're so comfortable doing it. And Ashley Toney, the CEO, she only had been working at the jail for 2 years. So within 2 years, how many other people had you beat and had a part of that before a death came up? 2 years. Within 2 years, you learned this culture.
And there was, like you said, there was a study later that actually came up and showed how many deaths occurred at this specific at Southern Regional.
So I've been working with this other group. I can't recall the name right off.
Was it the West Virginia Center of Budget and Policy? Is that who it was? Okay,
yes.
As I read the study, I think that's where it came from.
So they have a thing now, and it's called the Quantez Burks report. Any information that you want from the jails, you have to fill out the FOIA. So what they're doing is they're collecting that information, and it'll be ready for you to see and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to go through that FOIA request. So it's just a lot. And, it's just a lot. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know who to turn to. We didn't know. Who to trust.
Right.
We just start doing stuff. We just start talking. We stayed in the news. Like we just anytime,
just awareness. And then eventually like that awareness finds the right people, and then you got to then you're weary about it. You're like, I don't know, is this person so I could imagine there's a lot of things going on.
In the beginning, first, didn't trust anybody from the state.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I could imagine.
It's obvious how they cover up for each other. So then we finally got the feds involved in it. We have met some of the highest ranking officials in the government. We've been to D.C. We met with the Department of Justice in D.C. We've rallied. We've spoke. We've been to all of the different regional jails. We've done everything. We're members of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign. And it's been one hell of a ride. We've met people that we never thought we would meet before. And they've been so nice and they've been helpful where we thought we were going to get. And then the DOJ, they don't tell you as you're going through the case. There's only so much they can tell you. Didn't trust them either.
Because
how could you in your situation?
And they couldn't. But as the case unfolded and they can start telling us stuff, we start trusting them.
Yeah. Once things start happening, I was like, okay.
Start trusting.
Okay.
They say it's
And
a
it
bigger
just took
picture.
so long to
You gotta
happen.
sit still. It's a bigger picture.
Yep.
It's a bigger picture.
Wow.
And Quan brought out a lot of it.
It's just, oh man. I mean, I think you're literally going to change the system from doing what you did. And like I said, I think there's a lot of factors. There's, definitely system corruption to some level, but there's overworked people, there's underpaid people, there's not enough people, there's all kinds of these things creating this catastrophe.
And I understand that, but that don't mean beating nobody. You keep your hands to yourself.
I mean, it should never happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that allows the poison to get covered up. You know what I mean? Like I would in no way say it's all COs, but it's definitely a portion. It's just figuring out what portion, you know what I mean?
So not only are the COs responsible, let's talk about the wardens. Let's talk about Mike Francis. Let's talk about Jeff Sandy, who knew that this stuff was going on, but refused to do anything about it. They reported all this stuff to Jeff Sandy, to Mike Francis, but he didn't do anything about it. And they've been doing it for so long, and they got so comfortable with it that this was nothing. And I'm not saying it's a black thing, it's a white thing, a girl thing, really or a man thing, because it's all of us that they're beating and killing.
Oh, sure,
it's a variety of people.
Yeah.
It's just the thought that they got so you take a person that's incarcerated, they're already down on their luck. And then you take a CO who is very disrespectful and don't care and have a little bit of authority.
Overworked, underpaid.
And
a majority don't like their job.
And they don't like their job. So they were talking about they were underpaid. Mm-hmm. Jim Justice went back in when he and gave them a pay raise, was offering a pay raise, was offering bonuses to join the department. They spent a little money on covering up mold that's going to come back up. Anything to say that they're trying to improve the jail. But, mold is going to come back up. I don't care how many times you paint over it, it's going to come back up because you're not fixing the problem. Mm-hmm. You're putting a coating over it.
Patching it.
So my thing now, what I'm going to be working on, what we're going to be working on. She said I volunteer her for everything. Just do what I tell her to do.
I mean, Latasha, you're pretty awesome. So you got to get her involved.
I do.
What I want to work on now is what does the state and the Department of Corrections have in place for people like Quan? Mm-hmm. What are y'all going to do to correct all of these wrongs that y'all been doing over the years? So maybe these sentences for these COs will stop some of them, but it's not something that they went into the jail to do. It's something they learned within the system, within the walls once they got there.
Body cams?
Exactly.
We do body cams for police. Mm-hmm. Why not COs? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Why not?
But they have cameras there too.
But they have some way to
cut them off.
Well,
they said they wasn't working.
Yeah.
And then they got all of these blind spots that you can take somebody to beat, because we know that it's over 300 blind spots in here, and we know that we're getting ready to beat you, and we don't want it video.
Yeah.
So what do we do to prevent all of this from happening to the next inmate, to the next family? Where do we go from here?
To the table. And then you bring everyone, lay it all out there and listen. You know what I mean? But I mean, that sounds so much easier than
it is.
I mean, look what you've had to do.
It to be.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Because they don't want to see it our way.
And one thing, I think, nonviolent drug crimes. All these people in prison for that.
So a lot of these inmates are on drugs. A lot of them shoplifting charges, misdemeanor charges that don't have $50 to post a bond, let alone $100. And you're holding them, and you're really holding them hostage. Let them go. You know what I'm saying? Do something so that these people that got these misdemeanor charges aren't stuck in this system. Mm-hmm. Alvis Shrewsbury was one of the inmates there. And he was beat by the inmates. He was being starved. They was taking his food. They was taking his commissary. They was beating him. They was doing all of this kind of stuff. How do we prevent that from happening again? Kimberly Gully was another one. After Quan died, it was like 4 deaths after Quan. Kimberly Gully was a white female who had drug charges previously, but was in there because she was shoplifting. I'm told by the inmates that the guards told the other inmates that she had drugs on her, stuffed up inside of her. The inmates went inside of her and pulled her out, insides out. They took her to Bar H. They released her back to the Department of Corrections. She ended up dying because she bled to death. I was told that they had to have hazmat suits and stuff on to go in there to get her up off the ground and stuff. You know, this is just what I've been told. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just saying what I was told.
Yeah.
So how do you stop that? On top of that, they said the COs were videoing it. So how do you stop the COs from thinking that this is a game? They are playing with people's lives. There was another man, there was another man who was in a wheelchair, Gabe's family, who was in a wheelchair, and they beat him. He died. He died. It was 4 deaths after Quan's death. I think Quan
Has any of those been pursued?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Because, you know, a lot of times, if the state pay you off, these cases are put under the rug. They're hidden.
Were you off? I mean, you can talk about this if you want. Were you offered a settlement, or like what happened there? Because obviously you can still talk about it.
I'm going to talk about it regardless.
Yeah.
My personal feelings, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but my personal feelings, no amount of money that they offered us was worth my son's death.
Yeah.
I will never, ever be quiet. I don't care how much money I'm offered, how much money I take. I'm never going to be quiet because we still have to bring the awareness on what's going on at the jail. So me accepting some money and not talking about it is letting these guilty people get by with murder. And we're not doing that. So
you're good, Mom.
She is the
I know, right?
She is.
She, you know, I don't cuss a lot. She is the shit. I gotta say that.
Quan got us both on his back for a reason. Because Quan would put us through hell too.
He would. When he would get mad at her, he would get mad at me.
Oh, yeah.
Put us through hell.
You know, he'll be like, Ma, that's your daughter. I'm not your son. I'll be like, Quan.
He has both of us on his back.
He got tattoos of both of us on his back.
Oh, really?
No matter what he said, what he did, we was going to be there.
Oh, man.
And we are.
So I sometimes think about the pain, just the thought of him being handcuffed and not being able to protect himself. The moment that he realized that he was going to die, you know, what went through his mind? You know, what was he thinking? I don't have no help. I can't even protect myself. But I'm going to tell you one thing, and I mean this with my whole heart. If any of these COs would have ever caught him on the street, one-on-one, it would have never happened. They would have never had the opportunity to mistreat my son the way they did because he was a one-man army. And that's what he had on his back. He had that tattoo. Yeah. But I'm not saying it in a bad way, but he
took care of himself.
He would have taken care of himself. Yeah. And the only way they did that to him is to be on their territory, handcuffed in a group of y'all. And they acted like
a pack of wolves.
You know what I'm saying? They had no respect for the next person. Not one of them looked at my son and saw that he couldn't breathe, that he was losing their life and said, stop. He's had enough.
They kept beating him.
They kept beating him.
Yeah.
They took him. He was handcuffed. 2 of them carrying up here, 2 of them carrying him in the back, and they dropped him on his forehead. So when I'm looking at these pictures from the funeral home, me, Tasha, and Jessica Farish with 59 News was looking at them together for the first time. Had these pictures in the autopsy for months, almost a year, and I could never look at them. But something told me it's time to release these pictures because the public need to see. So we're looking at these pictures, and I'm like, I come to this one picture, and my face just dropped. My mouth just dropped. On his forehead, on the top of his head, he was bald. He had lines going across his head like this, right? Dug down into his scalp. And I'm like, what did they hit him with? What are these marks from? And I never could get no answers until we went to trial, until they started telling on each other and what they did. Do you want to know what they did to him while he was handcuffed? When they was carrying him, when they would go by the corners of the walls, they got the metal down it, they would ram his head into the wall. And he's handcuffed. So these pods have picnic tables, benches in them, picnic tables that are made of metal. They was ramming his head into the side of the metal.
His knees.
His knees. He had holes in his knees like this. The top of his toes was rubbed down to the almost to the bone. He had my son was bruised. When I tell you, from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet.
Everywhere in between.
Everywhere in between. He had and then he was a light complected guy. So, when the blood is gone, all that dries up and all that stuff, you can see every bruise, everything,
Scratch.
everything on his body. His forehead, where they dropped him on his forehead, went out like this. It took a different shape. This was caved in. His nose was broken. He had 2 broken wrists. Fingers was broke. They took and bent his fingers back. They pepper sprayed him.
All handcuffed.
And I just want to know how 21 years and 3 years and 9 years is ever enough time.
And they ruled it homicide. I mean, it just sounds like,
They was forced to rule it a homicide.
What else could it be?
If I could get the medical examiner's office investigated, I would, because I'm not finished yet. There is a homicide here that hasn't come to, nothing's been done about it yet. So there is a whole nother case. There's a criminal case that should be pending. You hear me? Because these are criminal actions. That federal case was only for violating his civil rights. So where do we go from here? How do we prevent this and another family from going through what me and my family went through? It's not what we went through. It's what Quan went through. He's the victim here. But as long as we have breath, like, I'm always going to be his voice. Always. I don't care what it takes, how long. It's been 3.5 years. And they're just getting sentenced. Everybody has gone to their new homes. One person leaves today, and we have one that's waiting to have a bed for her, but they're from North Carolina, Minnesota, Missouri, Texas. They're all over the place. And so when we were in court, the judge, their lawyers wanted their records sealed because they didn't want the other inmates to know that they were COs coming from a jail. They wanted their records sealed. You know what the judge said? Absolutely not. They will know who you are. They will know what you did, and they will know where you came from, because you want to be protected now in the system where you failed my son that was in the system. Well,
they've foregone those rights. It's the same as everyone else.
You're the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention to you, which CEO was it that was outside snorting coke that morning?
The dark skin one. I mean, dark hair. Was it Fleshman?
No.
Weimer.
What was it? Weimer? Or was it one of the one Holdren? He was outside snorting powder that morning before he went on his shift.
Super geeked up.
Two of the COs are.
It was in a system, or that was brought out in court.
Yeah, that's what they told the.
Oh, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 of them are in medical facilities within the feds
for rehab.
And this is who we have in our systems. Your job is to serve and protect, not beat and kill. And this is who we have in the system. And you see it all over the country, where the police the brutality is unreal, and it's not getting better.
Yeah.
It's not getting better.
It's one of those things like it should never happen. And then when it does happen, unless you got it on video,
it's what you can prove.
It's your word against, you know what I mean?
And then even with the body cams, if they all wear body cams, it's easy to turn them off.
There have been, yeah. I think that they have improved the situations pretty well. I mean, but obviously we could be better. And training too. I think training and how these situations are handled, and you know, I mean, I'm not going to act like I even remotely know what would be the solution, but there is definitely problems.
Do you know how we really started getting answers? It wasn't through the COs. It was through the cadets. There was 3 cadets there that day.
People who just arrived in the system. Okay.
And Chad Lester, they all had to write incident reports, but they didn't have numbers to put on a computer. Chad Lester
had numbers, but he would go in behind the number
and correct their
put it what he wanted them to say.
So this was proven at trial. When they put up they kept asking him, did you go in and change anything?
This man on the stand saying no. No, I did not.
Saying no. And FBI pulls every last one of them reports out that he changed. And
modified,
changed. And he was changing their reports to something crazy. He talked about Quan on one of the reports.
He was a, come here, you now, if he would have said, I could hear you.
Was
yeah.
You know, never a word.
That wasn't his word.
That wasn't his word.
Now, if you said, bitch.
So his nephew, nephew gets on Facebook and wants to argue with them. I don't argue with him because at this point, I'm gonna let that jail time. I'm gonna let that jail time speak for me. You know.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's evident.
He threatens them. He talks about meeting them at a club. He calls them. So this is a word. This word is a word between that y'all do. This is nothing that Quan do, and it was totally a lie. Quan didn't have enough breath in him to call anybody a name, and on top of that, he's worried about saving his life. How can he save his life? Calling the only woman that, well, it was a few other women there, but calling them no, I don't see that.
Yeah,
I don't see that.
It's not.
Yeah.
But anything they said he was seeing, green people, Martians, rats, hallucinating, a list of things that he was doing.
I don't care what he said. He had a bad day, shot a gun in the woods, and he ended up dead, and it shouldn't have happened. I don't care what he said. But at the same time, it's not the truth. Yeah, exactly.
Tell the truth.
And then one of the moms got in touch with me, and I did argue back and forth with her a little bit. She talked about how her son was a good son. She didn't, and I believe that at one point he went to work and he made a bad decision. He made the wrong decision. So all of that stuff that you're saying he done good doesn't mean anything to me.
You lost your son.
Because I lost my son at his hands.
A torturous death.
A torturous death. He was sacrificed.
Yeah.
Yes. His death was no worse than the death to me that Emmett Till they did to Emmett Till when they drugged him.
It was the newer age of Emmett Till.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And so she tells me about how her son is good and this is a lie and it's all made up and don't nobody to know the truth. This is what Lester's family said too. But they're admitting, they admitted guilt. They pled guilty to this, but you're still going saying that this is a lie. I want y'all to respect my son and what he went through and stop trying to cover up for your kids. Now I'm going to protect my child too, no matter what, But
there's protecting and enabling.
And that's what they did, was enable them.
Sure.
Because they're still not wanting to accept the fact that their children are going to jail for a very long time. But I can't, and I have had to learn, and I don't accept it, and I still haven't learned it, and I still have bad days. We're at the cemetery all the time. And, I still am trying to come to terms that after 3.5 years, that my son is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That he was really beat to death. He was really handcuffed and couldn't protect himself.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has the right to feel however they want, but it's weird when these things happen. Like parents that are, it's like they can't compute that this even could have been a possibility, because at the same time they grew up with their kid their whole life and they just can't imagine. But that's where the enabling comes in, is like, you can still love your kid.
Some accountability.
But there's accountability.
For what for what they did.
Yeah.
And if they could have shown any type of remorse, which they didn't, from day one, we was asking questions. Not one of them came forth until they were forced to. And then they want to get in trial and say that they're sorry. Well, at this point, your apology is not
when
necessary.
you're sorry.
We don't need your apologies no more, because you're forced to say that. Only one of them really had an apology that I felt was sincere. But the rest of them was doing it just because they trying to get some time off with the judge or whatever it was.
Sure. Well, I mean, listen, like, you have the right to grieve however you want, and you don't have to accept anything. I mean, and it sounds like even when you feel some sincerity, that you still acknowledge that, like with the last one you were talking about. You could tell if it was
real or if it was made you say it. You
just part of just going through the motion.
He cried like a cry, and you could tell it was sincere.
And the cadet, he had been with the SRJ he said his dream was to be in law enforcement. So this happened. He hadn't been there very long, so this happened. He ended up talking to a recruiter. He talked to the feds. He talked to his dad, and and he wasn't charged with anything. He didn't do anything, but he had to go behind them because he was in training. And he is now in Japan. He's a military police. When we left out of court, he came over to us and he wanted to talk to us, and he cried and he apologized. And I told that young man, I forgive you, but they made him lie on his report. And, he went back to correct it. He got in touch with an investigator or the state police. The state police in turn went back to Lester and told Lester that there was a rat in the system, because he was telling the truth. He went back to the state police in private at a separate location where he could tell what really happened without being intimidated by these COs. And that law enforcement came back and told Lester that it was a rat among them. And then Lester said something to all of them, was threatening them all. So, I told that young man, go on with your life. Just be a good person. Just be a good person. He said he couldn't sleep at night. He said he'd been thinking about this forever. I
try to put myself in someone's situation, like let's just say it's his first job and he's gonna start a life and take care of himself, and then you get into this situation of just pure depravity and tragedy.
And he just he wasn't ready for it. It was 3 cadets. One of them never came back after that.
Yeah.
One of them wrote an incident report. The Chad Lester changed. He changed 3 incident reports.
All of them.
He changed all of them.
Which was proven. FBI said, here's...
Oh, yeah. They had it. He thought he erased stuff, but ain't nothing ever erased.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And his temper with the lawyers was unbelievable. His attitude with the judge was unbelievable. He thought he was above the law, and he wasn't. And, they tore him a new one.
Yeah. Who was the prosecutor? The federal prosecutor?
The DOJ prosecutor.
Okay.
They came in from Christine Ciceretti.
Will
Thompson started it.
Okay.
Christine Ciceretti. Will was from here in Charleston. Christine and Jonas. Jonas was FBI. Christine was DOJ, and Tanette was DOJ.
Now, when the trial starts happening, well, I want to go back farther. Like after the Jim Justice thing, and you started hearing that, charges were going to be brought down, and you started hearing that people were going to be pleading guilty. How long did the actual trial last? Was it
only one went to trial, and that was Lester.
Oh, okay. So it was all basically
Everybody
hearings
took
and
plea
then
deals.
got it.
So trial was for him was
About
less than a week. About a week.
So y'all was there every day?
Every day.
We haven't missed anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. But everybody pled guilty.
Yeah.
They tried to give Lester a plea deal. They tried to give Lester. Yes.
Did they start flipping on each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they did. But they tried to give. They was trying to get bigger fish. They tried to give Lester a plea deal
for 8 years.
For 8 years, if he told on somebody else
that didn't get charged.
Okay,
got it.
The higher up.
Got it.
He wouldn't tell on them.
Gotcha.
Because he thought that he was so arrogant. He thought that he
wasn't going to do no time.
Yeah, he really did. He was just arrogant.
Even when they picked him up, remember he
yes,
he did. He broke out of the handcuffs
twice.
He asked the lady that was driving, the police officer, what side her marshal, what side her service gun was on, and like he was being a creepy like he was going to do something to her.
Right.
They thought that he was trying.
He thought he was going to just.
When was that?
When they first picked him up.
Okay.
When they first picked him up on the indictments, he also asked, and this is what the FBI said on the stand, if it was a police detail behind the marshals that picked him up.
He dislocated his wrist.
That's what he did. Yeah, he dislocated his wrist and got out of them handcuffs.
Oh, wow.
She kept saying it twice. And she said,
isn't that a charge?
Yeah, escape.
You would think so.
That's what attempted escape. So if I was in handcuffs and I tried to get out of them, they're going to automatically get me for escape.
Sure,
attempted escape.
Yeah, and that was in testimony. Like he got out of the handcuffs, and wow.
Yeah.
This is man, so tragic.
For no reason.
Yeah,
for no reason.
But it's so important to talk about because it's it's just something that like. And listen, I'm a big law enforcement fan. I have a lot of friends in it, but there are mistakes made, and when mistakes are made, they're devastating, and it really puts a shadow on all the people doing good things. So that's why this is so important to talk about, but also to memorialize Quan. And I'm glad you all shared with me who he was and what was the plans, Latasha? Were y'all?
No, so we really wanted, the $1 million RVs.
Nice. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes, that's what we was going to do. Me, him, and our dog. Go.
Yeah. What kind of dog you have?
A Boston Terrier. Well, she actually died last summer.
Oh.
I know. I said, you came and took the dog. Now you just left me with nothing. But no, he gave me another dog before that.
Yeah.
But that's what we was going to do, travel. We really didn't have too much to do, honestly,
Yeah.
That's what
everybody to talk about Quan, they always say he didn't bother nobody.
You can ask anybody on the street.
He didn't bother nobody.
Yeah.
All he needed was some medical attention. That's all they had to do.
So what do we think that he was needing medical assistance and they just got annoyed?
He was pushing that button.
He kept pushing that button.
He was having a heart attack.
He was in the process of having a heart attack.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they beat the heart attack. I mean, but there's other things.
He was having it.
Gotcha.
He had a heart attack. So he did have a heart attack. He had blunt force. These were his injuries. He had blunt force trauma to his body, whole body. He had hemorrhaging on his whole body. He had
broken wrists, broken fingers, ankles was broken
bones. He had damage to his head. He had it was a list of stuff. But he had all of these injuries. But that heart attack was brought on by the stress that they put his body in.
Yep.
While they was beating him.
Was beating him. That brought on that heart attack.
Whew, goodness gracious.
He had a lot of different little things going on.
Yeah.
He had boot prints all up and down his legs.
Mm-hmm.
Little holes all up and down his legs from just the boot prints, the bottom of his feet. When I say from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet.
So like you see like bruises in the shape of a boot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was beat from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet.
So devastating.
For no reason. For no reason.
How's his brother doing?
He's doing good. He, he, in the beginning, he would ask me and, I would tell him stuff. He got up, started crying, went out, and I said, okay. Then he come back in. I tell him a little bit more. He get up and start crying. So he knows what happened, but I have never really been able to sit down with him because he hasn't dealt with it like we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he would rather not talk about it. He'll listen, and I show him stuff that I be doing, interviews and stuff, and he'll look at it, but he don't want to get into the details about it.
Yeah, just
because he's not handling it like he should.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows what happened and all that kind of stuff. And so we had another one of their friends that had died about a year after Quan did. And it was only about 5 of them that got real tight. And my son said that, he said, I'm losing my whole team.
Oh.
He said, everybody around me dying, And then when we was at the funeral, like, he just didn't want to cry.
He telling us not to cry.
Just trying to be strong for everybody. And he's never properly grieved. And, I don't know. But he's okay.
Well, good.
He's okay.
Well, I appreciate y'all. You're going on a cruise.
Yes, we are.
That's what took me so long to get here.
No.
Yeah.
We said after the federal case, we were wanting to go somewhere so we could sit back and relax and breathe.
Yep.
Because we've been doing this strong for 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine. Exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Emotionally, physically.
Everything.
It was well worth it for the justice. # justice for Quan.
Justice for Quan.
Yeah. And anybody can really, if they're just hearing your podcast, if they Google Quan's name, everything's going to come up. There's so much stuff on there.
Yep.
And so much stuff that happened to him and so much stuff that we've done just to try to get to this point to where people were charged.
Sure. I got to ask you, Latasha, about the real ID. I got to figure out is it hard to do? I need to do that. It's like a
man. So listen,
how much was it?
I don't know. Cause listen, I gave them my stuff. They called my number and it was $155. So I'm going back. They close at 5.
Oh,
so
you're going back.
Yeah. Only thing you have to do is just fill out your paper, the paper they give you,
okay.
2 pieces of mail. That's it.
Pretty simple. Okay.
Pretty simple.
And you probably
then I got my paper and everything.
But
so
you make sure you get your driver's license back until your federal ID comes.
How do we get Latasha scuba diving?
Oh,
I told her you said we wasn't going.
We ain't, or we not about to go up there for no chickens.
Yeah, she sent me a thing where they ain't got to fight on that cruise over the chicken tenders.
Oh yeah.
And I told her, I said, don't eat no chicken tenders and we're not going scuba diving. We're gonna be okay.
This would be my first time.
Yeah, I went on a cruise. I think it's been about 10 years. Me and my wife went. It's fun. And you're going Carnival. We went to the Bahamas, and then we went to 2 different places. I can't
That's where
remember.
we went to Bahamas and Dominican Republic.
And 2 other little places.
Awesome.
And then we'll be in Orlando for a day or so.
Well, y'all have a good time. I'm so glad to know you now.
Thank you so much.
Justice for Quan, like you said, and please keep in touch.
Yes, sir.
Let me know.
So when you do your podcast, how do I get that?
Oh, it's on YouTube, Apple, Spotify.
Your name?
It's Creepalachia.
Oh,
Yep.
you Creepalachia.
Yeah, I'm Creepalachia.
Don't mind me. I do cuss a lot on my Facebook. I don't give a damn.
That's okay. Hey, you go right ahead. No.
I know. She do be telling me like, Tasha, oh.
So you're Creepalachia.
Yep.
That's who Creepalachia is.
Yep.
So I can just pull that up and see this podcast.
Yep.
When is it gonna?
It's going to be, let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It should be Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And on that, I'll, anything you want to talk about before I end the show? I'm going to do a little call to action, let people know where they can watch everything, or are we?
No.
Okay. Just about everything.
Yeah. Well, appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
We come out at any time. Anybody call to ask us to do anything because we still try to get it out there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that haven't heard about it, and it's a lot that have.
Yep.
So we still do anything, anytime you need us away.
It's important if someone's out there, you want to talk to Kim, reach out to her, comment, shoot me a message. I'll connect you with them. Whatever we can do to spread the word. It's very important. And while I'm at it, everyone else, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube if you haven't. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave a review. It'll really help the show be found. And rest in peace to Quantez Burks. Appreciate this family so much. So inspiring what you all have done. I'm sad we have to be here, but
under these circumstances.
Yeah, under these circumstances, but I'm thankful for people like you in this world. So thank you all.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Last but not least, everybody, always remember, long live Appalachia.